Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing Devil Wears Prada. This is a book and a movie, and we're going to be discussing the differences between the two. And let me tell you, there are a lot of differences between the two. Okay, so I originally learned about this story through the movie because it's got, what is that, Anne Hathaway and, what is her name? I know her name. I don't know, I can't remember her name. But so this movie was, I guess it was based off of the book. I don't know which one came first. If you know, let me know in the comments. But the movie is so much better, I think. And I think that the only reason that I feel like it's so much better is because I experienced it first. The book was really good. I liked the book. I really enjoyed the book. And I was just like blown away by how different it was. Like, Andy is blonde in the book. She is dating Alex, not Nate. She doesn't live in New York. She lives in like New Jersey. And she ends up living with these other two girls. And then she lives with Lily. And Lily isn't an artist. And Lily is a drunk, which becomes a huge thing in this movie or in this book. And it is crazy. Whereas, like in the movie, Andy is dark headed. She's dating Nate. And she lives with Nate. And Lily is an artist and she has like an art studio that she works at. Not in the book. It is so different. The dynamic between Andy and Miranda is different in the book. So in the movie, Andy is really focused on her job and actually trying to do a really good job. And she's trying to prove that she is actually capable of this job. And in the book, she doesn't really care about her job. Like, she smokes in the book, and she will take extra long while she's like out running errands so that she can just like smoke a cigarette and not really in a rush to get back to doing her job. And it is so weird to watch. And a lot of the tasks that Miranda sets for her are very different. Um, like the Harry Potter thing was different. It wasn't a punishment in the book, whereas in the movie, it's a punishment because she messed up. And it wasn't a punishment in the book, which is weird. Nate's job is also different. He is a teacher, not a chef, or well, up and coming chef. And Miranda is out of office for the entire first month of Andy working there. Like, she doesn't interact with her at all the entire first month. And she doesn't become friends with Nigel. She actually gets closer with James in the book. Whereas in the movie, Nigel is like her best work friend. And it is so strange. Her and dynamic with Emily is a little bit different. Emily is a little bit meaner in the book, which is interesting because she's not very nice in the movie. Um, but in the book, her and Emily also have like these moments of like camaraderie where they are sort of acknowledging the fact that their job kind of sucks and Miranda kind of sucks. Whereas in the movie, you don't get any of that kind of dynamic. Um, and so that's a little bit different. Um, I really liked the ending in the book. I just wish that I hadn't known the ending for the movie because they're so different. And I think that the ending would have been really good. And so we'll get back to the ending in just a minute. Um, Miranda's husband is very different in the movie versus the book. So in the movie, we don't really see him very much, and his name is Steven, and he's like a second husband, third husband, whatever. And we don't really interact with him. But in the book, his name is like Hunter Tomlinson or something, and he's very prevalent in the book. Not like super super prevalent, but like he shows up in a lot of scenes, and he's weird. He interacts with Andy weird and Emily weird, and it's just weird. Oh, and the party in the movie where Andy has to go to last minute and miss Nate's birthday. That is a engagement party for Miranda's brother-in-law, and Andy has to go for whatever reason. I don't remember why she has to go, but she ended up having to go last minute for that one too. But so that was different. Like when I say things were different, I mean like pretty much everything was different. But so some of the other nuances that were different is like Christian. In the movie and in the book, she's a little bit flirty with Christian. And in the movie, when Lily catches her flirting, Lily is like, "What the heck are you doing? Like, you love Nate. Like, why are you flirting with some dude in a corner?" And in the book, Lily is all for it. Like, do it. Might as well do it. Like, you're young, you can have fun, and it's okay to flirt with another dude. Like, what? What are we doing? And Lily's dynamic is very, very different. And she's an alcoholic, and she's drinking a lot, and she's partying a lot, and she's failing out of college, and she ends up getting into a car accident later, and because she's drinking and driving. Like, that's the whole dynamic. That's her whole character is she's a partier. And in the movie, that's not how it is at all. She's a lot more sophisticated looking, a little bit more put together, and doesn't have that party vibe at all. So that was super different. And I didn't like that portion of the book. I just I don't know. Maybe it's just because I really liked Lily in the movie, and I like the fact that she was brave enough to stand up to Andy. And in the book, she's a little bit more like whatever, live your life sort of thing. And I just didn't like her very much in the book. Okay, so the ending. This is the biggest difference. And like I said, the ending in the book is actually pretty good. If I didn't know the original ending that I was exposed to. So in the movie, Andy gets to go to Paris because of the fact that Emily was not doing as good of a job as Andy. Andy had really impressed Miranda, and so Miranda was promoting Andy basically. And she goes to Paris, and there is a plot to sort of take away Runway from Miranda. Well, Miranda knows about it, and Miranda does her own conniving and is able to keep her own job, but she betrays Nigel, who was supposed to get a different job. And so things work out well for Miranda while not working out for Nigel. And Andy is confronting her about that and being like, I could never backstab somebody like that. And Miranda's like, you already did. You backstabbed Emily just like that. And Andy's eyes are kind of open to the fact of like, I don't really want to live like this. And so Andy doesn't go into whatever party they're going into. And she walks away and throws the phone in a fountain. And I love that. I thought that was just a very classy ending. And yeah, there's some loose ends that come after that, but that was how she ended up leaving Miranda. Well, in the book, Miranda is very useless. I mean, useless. Like, and this is the part that I actually really liked about the book is that she would be on the phone and she would call the office to Emily or Andy and be like, I need you to connect me to so and so. And they're like, you have his number and you have a phone. Why are we having to connect you? But that's just how incompetent she was at like those sorts of things. And I think that it just showed that she was too above even learning how to do those things. And all of like the stupid stuff that she would have them do that was just impossible. Like, they were a little bit more passing in the movie and you didn't really quite catch them if you weren't paying attention. And so in the book, there's a scene where she tells Andy that she wants a restaurant review that was in the paper the day before. Didn't tell her which paper, didn't tell her which restaurant, didn't tell her who wrote the article or anything. And so Andy's trying to figure it out, and Miranda's like, "What? You're an idiot. You can't figure out where this review was?" And then come to find out, it was from a different state. Like, how's she supposed to know that? And so, like, that was the kind of things that you got to see a little bit more in depth with the book, which I really liked. But so, the ending. Editing same here. So I'm getting ready to go on a whole explanation of the ending for the book. But I need to cut in here before I do that and explain how Andy got picked to go to Paris in the book, because it's very different from in the movie. So in the book, like I said, somewhere at some point in this video, Andy's not very good at her job. And so the only reason that Andy gets to go to Paris in the book is because Emily gets mono. That's the only reason. It's not because she outdid Emily and now Miranda is choosing Andy over Emily. No, Emily gets mono, and Emily is not allowed to leave the bed. Like, doctor's note, you cannot leave this bed. You have to stay here. You cannot go to Paris. And so that's the only reason why Andy even got to go in the book, and it's a huge deal. It wasn't because she was so great at her job now, or Miranda just liked her so much more. It's literally because Emily couldn't go and Miranda had no other options. So I think that that's really important for you to know going into this next section, because it's a big part of the ending, because her getting to go to Paris is a big deal. And in the movie, she betrays Emily for this position. And in the book, she didn't betray her. Emily just kind of got sick and couldn't go. Miranda is at this like luncheon or whatever, and she is supposed to get an award, supposed to accept an award for on behalf of Runway or something, and she don't want to do it. And she's getting really impatient and doesn't want to be there, so like she leaves. And Miranda, and what's her name? Andy. Andy ends up having to like accept it for her, and she's like, Miranda, like what the heck are we doing? And so at one point, they're at this party, and Andrea goes off on Miranda. I'm talking like cussing her out because she is just done with her. Like, absolutely done. Can't stand her anymore. She's quitting. So she is like letting her have it in front of all these people. And she just walks out. And she gets on a plane and she just comes home. No phone, no nothing. Like, just comes home. And actually, I think she had her phone because Emily calls her pretty quickly and is like, what in the world? And so I think that her finally standing up to her was really good. Um, but I just like the other ending better, because there was a betrayal and it opened Andy's eyes to that and realized that she didn't want any part of his life. Whereas in the book, the entire time, Andy doesn't want this. Like, she couldn't care less. She hates it. She thinks Miranda is just awful, and she takes every opportunity to like undermine and to roll her eyes or whatever. Like, she openly despises this job and has no desire to do a really good job. Whereas in the movie, Andy was wanting to do a really good job. And so I think that was bigger differences between the two. In both, they still hook up with Christian, um, which is fine. He's fine. Oh, another difference that I didn't like in the book because I was like waiting on it is after Andy leaves Miranda and she's applying for different magazines and trying to like make a name for herself and be a journalist, there's no recommendation. Whereas in the movie, she is at this interview and this guy's like, what happened at Runway? And he's like, Miranda sent me a fax and was like, she is the biggest disappointment I've ever had, and if you don't hire her, you're an idiot. And I'm just like, that is so Miranda. And that wasn't in the book. And I was really sad about that. So I really was looking forward to that part. But, it's a small thing. But I think that that's all of my notes on that. Overall, I really enjoyed the book. I think that it is a good on its own. You have to really let go of the movie. If you're holding on to the movie and trying to enjoy the book, it's going to be so different. Like, you have to let it be its own thing. Oh, my goodness. I totally forgot. I didn't even tell you about why Andy came back home. So, and this is why she like freaked out on Miranda. So, Andy gets a call and Lily was in the car accident and she's like in a coma, like gonna die. And Miranda like won't let her leave. And her family and her friends are talking to her and they're like, "What are you doing? Like a year ago you would have done the right thing, like you would have just come home." And that was a big theme in the book, was she was changing and she was letting down her friends more and she wasn't there when they needed them and she wasn't paying attention to her friends and didn't realize how bad Lily was and didn't wasn't even paying attention, even though they lived together. And this is what happened with her and her boyfriend too, is that she wasn't paying attention and she had no idea what was going on and just kept letting them down over and over again. And so that was part of what was happening when she was in Paris, is that they were giving her a hard time because she was going to stay. And then she decides not to stay. And Miranda didn't want her to go. And so, big part of why she left was because Lily was in the hospital. And okay, I think that that's everything. Her and the boyfriend were gonna be friends. They didn't even love each other in the book, whereas in the movie they really loved each other. And so I think that's all of the big differences. Like I said, it was hugely different, and I loved all the little Miranda pieces where Miranda was just being ridiculous for no reason. And so that was a lot of fun. We got to go a little bit deeper on that with the book, which was cool. But so yeah, have you seen the movie? Have you watched But so, have you seen the movie? Have you read the book? I don't know that I even knew it was a book until I was doing research for like these videos that I'm doing. And oh, so excited to read this one. Um, but let me know in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.